episode 3 of Knott, a podcast. I'm recording on a Monday in January, early January. First day my kids are back in school after the holiday. So we made it through Christmas, New Year's, all that once again. I don't know. Sure, maybe it's the same for you, but I know for me, the holiday season is just kind of odd. It's just like my kids are very into the whole Christmas magic, and they always have been, like the Santa and the elves and all that. And, you know, even though they're getting older and it's starting to fade, you know, it's still a big deal. And I'm not a very magical person typically, so I never really pushed it, but, you know, they've still picked it up and kind of run with it. But, you know, each year that comes and goes, it kind of starts to get a little bit less, I guess, which is kind of, you know, depressing, but also a relief, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's kind of contradictory, but such is life, I suppose. But anyway, we made it through. It was good. We, you know, had family time and all that, and got to see everyone that was local in the Central Florida area. And let's see, what else? What were the highlights? My 13-year-old Jacob got me a little symbol that you put on the dashboard of your car. Like, I hooked it up to the air vent, or not hooked it up, but attached it to the air vent in the car. So now, like, when I'm rocking out in the car, I can hit the symbol with my finger. So that's pretty exciting. And then, like, a few days before Christmas, Olivia, my 8-year-old daughter, asked me if I had bought her tattoo markers. I was like, I didn't know anything about this, but I was like, you know, got my attention right away because I'm always kind of interested in tattoos, even though I have none of them. So I bought them, and then, so she got that for Christmas. And then a few days after, one of my other gifts that I got was a American Idiot by Green Day vinyl record. And on the inside of that, there's a picture of a person's hands holding a chain link fence, and on the knuckles, it's tattooed rage on one hand, love on the other. And so Olivia recreated those tattoos with her markers on my knuckles. So I have 8 tattoos now. My first 8, not really, because they faded. They washed off after like 2 days. But I mean, I felt pretty punk rock there for like 2 days, a good 2 days. Yeah, that was a good time. Kind of felt like St. Jimmy. So it's probably the closest I'll ever come to that. Probably chasing that high for quite a while. Anyway, I think that was pretty much all the highlights. And let's see what else. This has happened like a few times over the years, but there's an actor with the name Andrew Knott who was like a child actor. He was in The Secret Garden way back in like the 90s as like a adolescent, and he's British. And I guess he was in this show, this sitcom called Gavin and Stacey, which I had never heard of, but which is apparently a big show in England that ran for like 17 years. And then the series finale aired on Christmas Day on the BBC, I think. And so I noticed, like, right after Christmas, I started getting a bunch of new Instagram followers. It was people I had no idea who they were, but I thought it was maybe for my writing or something. I was getting pretty excited, but then I realized, yes, the actor Andrew Knott, like, reprised his role on Gavin and Stacey. His character's name is Dirtbox, apparently, which is fun. But, you know, I got a nice little Instagram follower bump from that. Yeah, I've had that mix up in the past. Like, every now and then, like probably once a year or so, I'll get a message on Instagram asking me if I was in The Secret Garden. So, and I'm always like, yes. I wrote a novel, so you should read that. It never works. They never buy it, but I'll keep trying. Anyway, so that's the excitement here. So I guess I will move on. Hope you guys are had a good holiday season. Happy New Year, all that. And we'll move on to the story now. This week's story is called I Wore Uncomfortable Underwear for Years to Fit In, and Now Kids Wear Socks with Crocs. Several decades ago, when I was in middle and high school, I wore the most uncomfortable type of underwear known to man for literally years to avoid ridicule. Just how things were. No one questioned it. You suffered. You looked ridiculous, but that was the style at the time. You suffered some more. You survived, more or less. At least, that was my experience. I'll go ahead and assume it was universal, otherwise this article doesn't work. But today, wow, I guess you could say things are a little different. My oldest child is now in middle school, and I was shocked to discover that middle school kids sometimes wear knee-high socks with colorful Crocs, and that is cool. We used to be a country. Also, life is so unfair. Sure, the current generation will likely live to see and experience climate-related horrors beyond our wildest imagination, but in the meantime, man, they are living it up. Long socks with Crocs or sandals are just the beginning. I've seen kids wearing plaid pajama pants to school, comfy t-shirts with cartoon characters on them, jeans that rest above the hips, and hoodies so big a small family of raccoons could curl up inside. It's wild. Back in my day, we walked around with one hand tugging up our jeans at all times so the waistband stayed right where it was required to be by law, a 2-inch zone between the knee and the lower buttock. If that waistband strayed any higher, best of luck to you. Summary execution was not out of the question. The jean situation was one reason all boys were required to wear the most uncomfortable underwear ever created, boxer shorts. I learned this lesson the hard way. In 7th grade, I was still wearing white briefs like a complete loser. One day, during PE, my underwear somehow got loose while I was changing for swimming and ended up in a puddle in the middle of the grimy, tiled locker room floor. Some kid picked them up with 2 fingers like he was handling toxic waste, presumably because of the style, not because they were wet underwear. Held them up in the sky like Rafiki presenting Simba to the Pride Landers, and everyone in the locker room said, "Ooh!" I looked away, busying myself with the lock on my locker so no one would notice how red my face was turning. No clue who those baby underwear belonged to. I didn't wear comfortable underwear again for the rest of my school career. That wouldn't happen today. Nope. Kids will never know what it was like to have scratchy boxers riding up on your undercarriage 24/7. They looked amazing, though. The cool patterns blousing out from above the jean, lower thigh band. Do you remember when it was a federal crime to carry your backpack with both straps on your shoulders? I do. I developed significant scoliosis, and one of my shoulders rests was noticeably lower than the other, but it was worth it. If you ever encountered me holding my backpack with 2 straps, it would have been safe to assume that a nuclear attack was currently underway. Sometimes, if you got really tired and you were completely alone, you could slide the other strap on. But if anyone rounded the corner, you had to get that strap off your shoulder fast. Kids today walk around with their backpacks resting comfortably on their backs, 2 cushion straps on their shoulders looking like little nerds. Sadly, they'll never know how cool it looked to stumble almost sideways, one leg dragging behind, a huge backpack dangling from one shoulder while you clutched desperately at your jeans that were 7 sizes too big with the other hand. Staying upright used to be an accomplishment, not anymore. And finally, the socks. In the 90s, underwear was on full display at all times, but if anyone ever found out you wore socks, well, your family had to pack up and move at least 2 towns over before you could safely re-enter society. Socks were meant to be small and invisible, so small that you developed abrasions on the back of your heels where your shoes rubbed your skin above your no-shows. We wore those scars like badges of honor. If you ever had to wear long socks, for God's sakes, they better have been shoved down your ankle to within an inch of their life. Now, sheesh, socks are high, Crocs are crocking, and every middle schooler is a middle-aged dad mowing the lawn on Sunday. Change is inevitable, but doesn't mean it's easy. Sometimes when I'm getting dressed to run an errand or walk the kids to school, I still find myself pulling my long black athletic socks on and immediately pushing the top down around my ankles. I catch myself, smile, and yank them back up, because I don't have to do that anymore. I'm 43 years old. I don't have to worry about what other people think. I mean, perhaps it helps that the style I preferred my entire life is now cool, but still. I am beyond all that. I am living life on my terms. This is finally my time to fit in without suffering debilitating injuries in the name of fashion. We've had a lot of fun here, taking a stroll or awkward shuffling limp down memory lane, but let me pause for a moment to say that I am legitimately happy that fitting in and being like everyone else doesn't seem to be the ultimate goal for my kids or many kids today. That's a positive change, and we should embrace any positive changes we can find. On that uplifting note, I re-entered the world with newfound confidence as I head to the store in pursuit of basketball shorts for my 10-year-old that are sufficiently short and tight to allow for easy execution of the between-the-leg dribble. Because, get this, it is now acceptable once again to wear basketball shorts that don't brush the tops of your no-show socks. What a time to be alive. P.S. I will never wear Crocs. That's my red line. I don't care how comfortable my kids claim they are. I can still live with a bit of discomfort to keep a small shred of self-respect. Thanks for listening to Knott, the podcast. I'll catch you next time.